You have those people sprinkled around your team, John David White.
This is Huddle Up with John David White and Tye Richardson, live from the Martin Orthopedic Studios.
Well, he has fallen in love with John David White. They have made a ton of connections.
Presented by Phelan Orthodontics.
Throws on the run, man wide open. Connects once again with White, a 24-yard touchdown.
Welcome into the inaugural edition of with myself, Tye Richardson, and John David White. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to have all of our Hit That Line podcast network listeners, and really excited that our buddies Dr. Tom and Dr. Jim Phelan are presenting this podcast. John David, it's kind of funny. We were discussing certain people who we thought would want to be a part of this, and you and I both have the connection of the fact that Dr. Jim, and now Dr. Tom, who's taken over the practice. They were orthodontists back in the day, and I think we have decent smiles, don't you?
I think we do. Yeah, I mean they sure worked on us good, and they fixed what we. Oh man, but
I do not miss that, dude. The braces and the
oh
retainers.
My gosh, those are the worst, but they definitely made our smiles better.
No question about it. You can find them at PhelanBraces.com. They're open Monday through Thursday, 7:45 to 5 o'clock. Give Dr. Tom and his team a call at 501-224-6535. Hey, first week of school in the books. Now, I know you've done this once or twice. I say once or twice. This is your junior year. I was on Dixon last night, and I just missed seeing everyone. I felt like a grandpa, to be honest, because I'm so used to back in the day when I would walk into Z or Weston and know 20 or 30 people off the bat. And it's just a little different. Now, I see a Little Rock Christian kid that was a few years younger than me or one of my sister's friends, but it's definitely
just nobody your age.
No, but you walk into a place, you know everyone, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I see. I mean, when we went to a party last night, and I mean, I just saw a bunch of my buddies from back in high school, and it was just like, this is awesome. Like, it's been good to see everybody again and just kind of get back to normalcy.
Yeah, it's fun to be back in Fayetteville. We're 7 days out now from football, which is actually, I say 7, we're 6 days out from Razorback football. I know that you and I have had conversations, just getting back in the swing of things. Just kind of tell our audience right now, JD, what kind of classes are you taking right now? You're a marketing major. How do you balance schoolwork and not only being that, but a Division I student athlete? Now you got this on your plate too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, being a student athlete in college is definitely hard. And, I mean, you have to do extra stuff. You have to study more because you don't get the time after classes to study because you have to go and lift weights and you have to go to practice. And so it definitely takes a lot more time outside of your kind of time frame to understand what's going on in the classes and what's going on the football field. And so I am a marketing major. I'm taking a bunch of like classes talking about finance and business and the marketplace and just the different aspects of it, like stocks and bonds, and just learning all about that kind of stuff and just how they correlate to the real world.
And you've got not necessarily a financial background, but your grandpa, John Reese, owns a commercial real estate. Reese Commercial is part of this podcast, as well as Genesis Auto Wash. Your dad, remind me what David does. What does your dad do?
My dad, he sells this construction tape that you put behind walls. It's just like it's called a green zip tape.
Okay.
And so that's what he does. He sells that, and he works with one of his partners, Jason Roach. And they sell that kind of stuff, and they sell it to just businesses that it's kind of like a retainer wall almost. You just put it behind the wall, and it kind of just supports it.
Is that something you or Zach or Cooper, we're going to talk about John David's family a lot more coming up. He's got a bunch of brothers and sisters. Is that something you think you're going to end up working for your dad after school, or do you kind of venture off and want into your own path?
You know, everybody has their own path, and I mean, all growing up, I always wanted to do what my dad did, but I've always been interested in the commercial real estate world or the marketing world. And so even though I like what my dad does and it's interesting, I kind of want to venture off on my own path.
This is the opening statement brought to you by the law firm of Lax, Vaughn, Fortson, Rowe, and Threat.
They've been serving their clients' business and tax needs since 1989, whether it's tax matters, taxation, estate planning, probate, business transaction, all types of business litigation. They take pride in their personal relationships with their clients, and no matter is too complex for this team. Give them a call at 501-376-6565. That's 501-376-6565 or laxbond.com. So really opening statement, JD, I want to get into is just kind of how this podcast got started. And I think we have to go back to where you and I's relationship formed, which was outside of War Memorial Stadium. Your dad and my dad are friends. Just kind of go back your early days and just watching football in War Memorial Stadium.
Man, when the Hogs came to town, everybody was there. I remember when we were in the parking lot just throwing the football, we would bring that little to-go grill, and we'd be throwing, and we'd have my dad and Mr. Cervillo and your dad just cooking the burgers and hot dogs, and we'd just be throwing the football, dude. I can't believe it's been that long ago, but I mean, it was the best atmosphere ever. I remember just getting so excited. We were all wearing the Razorback jerseys, getting ready to go in, watching the guys walk into the stadium, and I was just like, dude, I want to be that someday.
You've taken that path. I've taken the the armchair quarterback type of role, and I was thinking to myself, I used to play quarterback with you, Zach, Cooper, Walker, and all the guys, Ben, Garrett, and now it's transition. You're catching passes out on the War Memorial Golf Course, and now you'll be not only catching them inside War Memorial Stadium, but also in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. At what point, because I remember, I don't have a great memory, I do remember being fast back in the day. John David, at what point at Pulaski Academy did you think, I have a shot to play college ball, not just Division II, Division III, but for a program that I grew up every day with my heart set on?
Absolutely. And I mean, being a Razorback football player has been a goal ever since I can remember. Being a little kid, watching my uncle play for the Hogs and just knowing the legacy behind them. And just watching them growing up, it's always made me strive to be a Razorback football player. And so I had my mindset at an early age. And so even before PA, when I was at Little Rock Christian, I was always doing extra. I was working with my, at the time, receivers coach, Coach Brandon Middleton. He was a receiver at Houston, and now I think he's a high school coach back in Texas.
Okay.
But he really kind of taught me just the foundation of how to be a receiver and releases and all that kind of stuff. And so that really got me juiced up, and I was always loving it. We were doing extra workouts on the field in the weight room, and so that got me really into it. And then after I transferred to PA, is just like, it just even amped it even more. I was just like, I love this. Like, I'll do anything to get to where I want to be in life.
And you have the family connections, your uncle, John Aaron. One of my favorite John Aaron highlights, Dallas, Washington, 2006, when he picks the guy up and puts him, and you see John Aaron, they zoom over the sidelines, and John Aaron is just hyped on the sidelines. That would have been, so I was in Cotillion back in the day, because that was 2006 years. So I was middle school. Do you have a memory of that? I'm assuming you probably watched it on YouTube a time or two.
Oh yeah, I've seen the video. They've done a flashback of that hit a couple times, and it's been of where they showed John Aaron on the sidelines, and I was just like, that's crazy. I
remember talking to your dad about high schools, because I was at LRC at the time, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Your dad's a PA alum. Walker's at Little Rock Christian right now. I know Zach was at PA, went to Robinson. Why did you transfer from LRCA to PA in high school?
You know, I loved both schools. I went to Little Rock Christian because when I shouted at them, I knew a lot of people there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I just wanted to just try it out because I really liked the atmosphere. I liked the football programs, the sports programs there. And I liked it over at PA too, but I just felt like at the time I was being called to Little Rock Christian. And so I went there, and then just for one day, me and my dad and Zach sat down, and we were just like, what do y'all want to do? Do y'all want to stay here for high school? Because I was about to be in high school. Mm-hmm. Like, it was right after my 9th grade year, and it was about to be where I was in varsity football. So my dad was like, because Zach brought up the question, he was like, I want to transfer. He said, I want to go to PA. And so my dad sat me down. He said, hey, do you want to stay at Little Rock Christian, or do you want to go to PA? Mm-hmm. And after a lot of prayer and just thought about it, even though I hated leaving Little Rock Christian, I was just like, I think God's calling me to go to PA. And that was the best decision ever because, I mean, I met so many new guys. I got to play under Coach Kelly, who I'd been growing up watching, who's a legend. And so it was just a bunch of great opportunities. I got to play with guys that I got to know and, I mean, are still my best friends to this day. And, I mean, it was just a great experience, and I was happy that I did it.
By the way, I want to give Coach Anthony Lucas, he gets his first win against Robinson. I think he might have heard you, what you said on Friday's show about just getting hyped up. Now, your dad, I was unaware of how good your dad was at golf until my dad and then Tommy was telling me, like, is David White like the All-American golfer? I was like, I think so. I think David was pretty good. I've never played golf with your dad. Hopefully at some point in time we can go hit the stick.
I know, we need to hit the course sometime.
Absolutely. But your dad, you got some of your athleticism from him, obviously your grandpa as well. As a former Division I athlete, what conversations have you had with your dad about how they helped you just in your everyday workout routine, everyday routine on the football?
Absolutely. We talk about it a lot because, I mean, he went through the same exact kind of struggles that I've been going through just throughout the course of college football. Like, it's taxing, and you have to have a strong mind if you want to get through this because not everything's going to go your way. It's just not. No matter if you're 5-star, 4-star, walk-on, it's all going to be the same. You're going to hit roadblocks when you're in college. And so just talking to my dad and kind of figuring out and getting through those roadblocks and keep working and to keep pushing through and to keep going even when you are hitting those roadblocks is the biggest thing that he's been talking to me about ever since I've been in college because it puts pressure on you because you expect perfection out of yourself, and especially me being a perfectionist, I want to do everything I can to get onto the field and to get a scholarship and to just accomplish all my goals that I have set in front of me. And so when they're not happening at the time frame that I want it to, it's just it's
irritating.
Yeah, it's irritating. It's super irritating. And so he's just been telling me just keep and that he's got a plan and that you've just got to keep pushing through even when those times are going tough because, I mean, everybody's going to hit them. And so it's just the strong will survive. And if you don't have a strong mindset, then eventually it's going to break you because it's a struggle. Mm-hmm. And you've got to keep pushing, and you've got to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel and that God's bigger plan is for you.
So you're a guy as a senior that I believe broke the state record for receiving touchdowns, right? And so you go from that as a senior, one of the more highly decorated players coming out of not just the Central Arkansas area, but the entire state in terms of statistics. And then you get put in a role like all walk-ons do where it's, as you just referenced, it's tough because not only were you having to go through coaching transitions, moving from Coach Craddock and Coach Morris to now Coach Briles and Coach Pittman, but you're put in a spot where you were top dog at PA, not just at PA, but a lot of, not just 5A, but really Arkansas high school football. And now you're at the bottom of the totem pole, right? It's a complete switch. How does that play into like the psyche of just you and the perseverance that you just referenced, talking with your dad and just assuming a different role that you didn't necessarily have as a senior? And I think you were a captain at PA as well.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that transition work?
Man, I mean, it's definitely different. It's 100% different because, just like you mentioned, you're going from playing every day to having to work your way up to even get a chance to play.
To get reps.
Exactly.
To get reps.
Exactly. And so I came in with the mindset that I already knew I was going to have to work harder than everybody, prove myself more than everybody to show that, hey, I can play. And so you have to come in with the mindset that you're just going to ignore everything. You're not going to care where you are on the depth chart, when the scholarship comes, if it comes. You've just got to go in there and say, hey, I'm going to work my butt off until I get what I want. And that's what I actually really came in with. And that's what I talked about with a bunch of my friends and family, is just that I've got to come in with the mindset that I've got to work. And not anything's going to be given to me because, first of all, I'm a walk-on. And so you have to earn everything. And so it's but I love it. I love the challenge. Being challenged is fun because if you just stay idle in life, I mean, it's just, what's the fun in that?
Yeah.
And so you've got to hit challenges, and I loved being given the challenge because, I mean, I'm going to outwork you. No matter what, I'm going to outwork you. And so to be given that challenge and to tackle it head on, and to, at the end of my freshman year, being playing against LSU and
Derek Stanley
exactly,
Jr.
yeah.
profile pic. That's one of my favorite pics of you.
It's sweet. It's a great picture, and it was just a super exhilarating moment to know that all my hard work had paid off. And then when the staff left, it was just like, all right, I'm back to square one, but I'm going to tackle it. I mean, I'm just going to go in and just prove myself again. Mm-hmm. And it helped that everybody knew who I was, like, on the team, and knew just how I am. And then Coach Stepp was also there, and so a little bit
of holdover, at least in your position.
Yeah. Coach Stepp was there, and so it wasn't like I was getting a new receivers coach at the time. And so then I worked my way up again, and I was traveling every game, and I played. And so then when we got Coach Guyton, I was like, all right, another roadblock, got to work my way up, got to prove myself again. And I mean, I just tackled it head on. And I mean, I love Coach Guyton. He's a great guy. He's a great coach. And I'm so blessed to have him because he's taught me a whole new perspective as being a football player. You can't just think about it as a receiver, because the way the quarterback thinks is, all right, here's my progression. And so as a receiver, if you know the quarterback's progression, you know how much time you can take in your routes, what kind of release you can do to get open the fastest, if you have to be fast in your release, or if you can kind of work them a little bit. And so it's been awesome. The challenges of being a college football player are definitely tough, but I wouldn't want it any other way because I love the challenge.
Now, when you came into the studios today, we're recording from the ESPN 99.5 studios here, the flagship right at the University of Arkansas. You laughed at the Chad Morris candle that happens to be sitting there.
Yeah.
Now, I was unaware until you told me this on the show Friday that Coach Morris and Coach Craddock were the ones that gave you the nickname J Diesel.
Oh, yeah.
And now, is that nickname, JD, just pretty much everyone in the football locker room call you that now, or does it kind of just vary on who you're talking to?
Dude, it's anybody. Anybody knows that I'm Diesel, and no matter if it's the strength staff, if it's a football coach, if it's the training staff, everybody knows that I'm Diesel. And sometimes, like, I don't get called Diesel 100% of the time, but like a bunch of my buddies will say JD, or they still call me JD, but everybody knows that my nickname is a Diesel. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty cool story. So, if we're filling up, which we often do whenever you go back home or whatever, and in one of my favorite places in all of Little Rock that I used to go to after every single landscaping job we did when I was in high school was Corky's. I got my go-to chili cheese fries, rolls, also got barbecue. Their spaghetti's actually really good.
I've actually had it. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. What's your, JD, what's your go-to at Corky's?
My go-to at Corky's is just their pork sandwich. Oh, it's so good. Oh my gosh. I get I think they have numbers on it, and so I get the one on the sauce, and just I'm not a big spicy guy, so I just get their original sauce with their pork sandwich, and I love those. I don't switch it up. I get the same thing every time. I get their rolls. I've had their spaghetti once. It's actually really good, but can't go wrong with the pork sandwich.
Yeah. Really appreciate Joe Klein and his team over at Corky's in both the Little Rock and North Little Rock locations. Whenever you're thinking about the War Memorial game coming up when Arkansas plays UAPB, or you're just in the Central Arkansas area passing through for work or whatever, it is a great spot. I'm highly recommended for both JD and myself. I haven't had it it's been a couple months. Next time I come back, I'm definitely going to stop on by. I really appreciate Corky's being a part of this podcast. Now, we still have I do want to dive into more of what Coach Guyton has brought to the wide receiver room. I thought that was something we can definitely spend some more time on. But you brought up a few references to games. 2019, LSU, you made a great catch on the sideline. You're matched up against Derek Stanley Jr., who is a All-American, 5-star kid coming out of Louisiana in high school, one of the best cornerbacks in the country. You played, I think you played 50-plus plays last year, if I remember that correctly. So
I think it was about that, yeah. I played, yeah, I think it was about 50. Yeah.
What kind of expectations have you set for yourself as we're 6 days out from the opener against Rice this year?
I mean, just as the same as everybody. I mean, playing time. That's the biggest one for me. I want to get on the field. And I mean, I want to get on the field and I want to make an impact. I want to help the team in any way possible. Special teams, being a receiver, I want to get on the field and be able to just help the team win every single game. And I mean, it's exciting. I'm so excited for this Rice game. I can't believe it's finally here. I mean, I remember in January when we started winter workouts and seeing we have a little time clock countdown until our first game, and it was saying like 250 days. I was like, God, that seems so far away.
Too far.
Yeah, but now it's here. And I mean, all the preparation and extra time that and the entire team has put in. I mean, we've been grinding, and the strength staff, the coaches, the training staff, they've been getting us right. And I mean, I couldn't be more thankful for them and just everything that they've poured into our lives to get us to where we are today, and just how much they care for us and want us to succeed in life. And so it's super exciting. I've put in a lot of work for this time, and I can't wait to see what happens this season.
We're going to get into some more insight on Coach Guyton here coming up in the program, and you're more than welcome if you ever want to talk about something with JD. You can text us in at the Genesis Auto Wash hotline at 877-377-6963. What has Coach Guyton brought to this wide receiver room? We'll get into that on Huddle Up next. Hey, Huddle Up is brought to you by Reese Commercial. John and John Aaron Reese, 30-plus years of experience, and 2 Arkansas football players, JD, your uncle, your grandpa. You've actually got a chance to shadow with them. What was that experience like, and what did you learn from your experience with your dad and your uncle and your grandpa?
Man, it was neat. There was just one time they were doing a construction site for, I think it was some elementary school, and so we went and he hired us. We were just going in there and we were cleaning up and we were kind of helping out the workers with just whatever they needed. And so we went there and we just kind of got to see what they go through when they go to a construction site and how they kind of run things. And it was super interesting. Cool. It was cool to see just all the different things that they have to take control of, the equipment rentals and all that kind of stuff. And so it was a deeper insight into just how everything runs with them.
Whether it's construction, development, like JD's talking about, leasing, property management, you can find Reese Commercial on Facebook or give them a call at 501-223-9298. That's 501-223-9298. They're located off Hinson Road in Little Rock. Hey, it's Tye Richardson for my friends at Arkansas Golf and Power Sports. They have 2 great locations in Fayetteville and North Little Rock, and they're Arkansas's largest easy-go and Cushman dealer. They offer full service, sales, both new and used, and rental. Check them out at arpowersports.com. They also offer truly custom golf carts for leisure vehicles for the entire state and surrounding areas. Arkansas Golf and Power Sports. Our goal is to get you in the cart that's right for you.
Nice spin move. John David White caught the ball about 2 yards short of the marker, but was able to spin out and get a first down, gain of 12.
You're listening to Huddle Up with John David White and Tye Richardson, live from the Martin Orthopedic Studios, presented by Phelan Orthodontics.
Coming at you live from the Martin Orthopedics Studios, it is Huddle Up. They provide complete and comprehensive orthopedic care for adults, students, and athletes. Their fellowship-trained and board-certified physicians are the leading names in orthopedic care. They have locations in Little Rock, North Little Rock, Cabot, Benton, and Hot Springs Village, and a walk-in sports injury clinic open Saturdays in Little Rock. Specialized orthopedic surgeons dedicated to improving your quality of life. Call Martin Orthopedics today. Now, we brought up Coach Guyton, and that's been one of the transitions in the offseason. So you have Coach Kennedy on the offensive line, Coach Guyton at wide receivers. You've got Coach Michael Scherer with the linebackers and Jamal Ashley with the defensive line. I think that's all 4, right? Am I missing?
I think you hit all the new ones, yeah.
I think I hit all the new ones. So let's talk about Coach Guyton. One of the things you just referenced that I think is really intriguing is Coach Guyton's a former quarterback at Ohio State. Now, we can forgive him for that, but from the quarterback perspective, I find it fascinating because you're learning not only what you have to do as a wide receiver, but as you reference progressions, how quick you need to be in and out of certain routes, and how much has he elevated your knowledge of not just the wide receiver position, but just knowing what KJ, Malik, and whoever else is throwing the ball, what they're thinking on a daily or on a play-by-play basis?
Absolutely. I mean, it's super interesting because, I mean, every single time you go out for a route, you've got to know beforehand what they are looking at. And so when you look out and see the defense, you can go, okay, this is what he sees, and I need to get in and out of my break this fast, or I can take my time so I can get open. And so it's super interesting, and Coach Guyton has done a great job. The way he teaches is so good. He makes it fun, but he also makes it interesting because he knows how a quarterback works because, I mean, he's been a quarterback his whole life. And so just to get that extra amplifying of just how we need to think is just, it's helped my game so much. And I know the game so much better because of him, and just knowing how defenses are going to be broken down, and when I need to help my outside guys block, and when a corner is about to blitz, and so we need to go out and block him. Mm-hmm. And so it's super interesting, and to kind of hear the way he thinks and the way that the QBs think is just a whole different terminology for me because, I mean, I'm not a quarterback. And so to hear that and to kind of start understanding the lingo and how they think is just super interesting, and I love it.
When you were at Little Rock Christian or PA, did you ever think about trying out for quarterback, or was it always wide receiver?
You know, there was this one year when I'm pretty sure it was my 9th grade year. It was going into my 9th grade year. It was right after my 8th grade season. And it was at Little Rock Christian still. And I think it was because Justice Hill was going to be playing with the varsity, or thinking about playing with the varsity that next year. Yeah. And so we didn't have a quarterback. And so they asked me to be a quarterback and to try out and to just kind of see how it went. And so at practices, I would throw the ball around, and then we went to a team camp. I can't remember where it was. I think it was Greenwood. And I just sucked. I was terrible. I think one of my
first... Not the answer I was expecting.
One of my first...
Walker being as good as he is.
I know. I did not get the QB gene. I was sitting back there, and I think I threw a pick like my first drive. And I was just... I was hating it. But thankfully, Justice played with us so I could get back to my home being a receiver.
Justice, man. I this is not your favorite memory, but it was a good memory for me. You guys beat him in, I believe, your senior year would have been, was it 2018 or 2019 regular season?
My senior year, the regular season was 2018.
Yeah. And you guys beat him pretty handily in the regular season, and then he just went off. That is one of the most athletic guys that I've ever seen at the 5A level. Now, you, correct me if I'm wrong, you just played receiver. You didn't play cornerback or safety, did you?
Well, we had specific packages where if they had this at PA, they had this package where if it was 3rd and long, or like in the state championship my junior year when we just knew that they were going to be kind of throwing deep balls and they needed faster guys, or just all these different packages, that I would go in at corner. And so I did play corner a little bit, and so I liked it, but it was fun. It was fun to kind of be both ways at some points. Mm-hmm.
It's just play a couple of different ways. Now, I want to talk about a little bit the transition from Coach Stepp to Coach Guyton, because I remember there was rumors floating around that he was going to end up going out to Columbia, maybe once, maybe twice, and then it ended up happening. For you talked about overcoming obstacles, and the relationship and the chemistry you had developed with him was all of a sudden gone, just like that. And one of the things that helps programs and positions is consistency. One of the things that has made Arkansas baseball so great is they've had two coaches since 1970, Norm DeBryan, Dave Van Horn. It's just been consistent. So I understand from that perspective, it's a struggle when you go from one to another. Not all the time, but you've had a coaching transition, head coach and your wide receiver coach and offensive coordinator. What were your thoughts initially when you heard for the first time that Coach Stepp was heading out to South Carolina?
I mean, for the one who I kind of grew in my relationship with and recruiting me, and so it was just I mean, anytime you lose a coach, it's especially when you're close to them, it's not fun because I mean, you know that they love you and that they wish you the best, and so those byes are always terrible. And so I mean, just saying bye to him and knowing that he was going to be leaving, it was tough because I mean, I knew it was making him happy, and I knew he was excited about it, and so I was happy for him on that. But at the same time, I was like, dadgum. Like, he's leaving. Who are we going to get? What's going to happen? And so all these different things started floating in my mind. Like, all right, I got to, like, there's another gut punch. Like, I got to restart again, you know? And so I was ready for the challenge, but I was just like, that's tough. And so I hated to see him go, but Coach Pittman couldn't have hired a better new receivers coach in Coach Guyton.
I want to talk about this season coming up because you guys have built upon something. That gets right into our new segment.
Let's build some positives with Ray White Lumber.
Located in Sparkman, Arkansas, Ray White Lumber Company at 318 North Commerce Avenue helps you out with interstate commerce, truck available, pickup, flooring, exterior siding, interior paneling, ceilings. They have all these different lumber products that you need. You can email Donnie at dwight@raywhitelumber.com or give Ray White Lumber a call at 870-678-2277. So not just from a team standpoint, but there's a lot of things, JD, that you can personally build on. You had the best spring game of any wide receiver, had the most yards, a touchdown, the connection with Malik Hornsby. I want to get into that chemistry, that combination, because you're going to have to help our audience out with what's going on with the quarterback situation because we as media members, we only get 20 minutes of practice.
Right.
KJ Jefferson, Malik Hornsby. What's going on with that right now? How much has Malik pushed KJ this offseason and particularly in fall camp?
I mean, any room, the receiver room, O-line, DB, no matter what room it is, you're going to have competition, and that's going to make you work harder. And so I definitely think that it's pushed both of them past their limits. It's not even just pushed both of them. It's pushed John Stevens, it's pushed Cade Renfro, it's pushed Lucas Coley to up their game and to try and beat each other out, you know? And so, I mean, Malik, he's definitely improved since he's gotten here. He's gotten a lot smarter. He's gotten just the terminology better and understanding the offense. And so he had a heck of a spring. He had a great fall camp. I love catching balls from all the QBs. Malik, obviously, he was my quarterback in the spring game, so it was fun. Ball? They all do. I love them. I mean, each one brings their own type of ball, and so I love each and every one of them.
So with the quarterback discussion, it's always known by fans that the backup quarterback is the most popular player on the team. That's just how it goes every single year. So a lot of people are wondering, is Malik going to play? How's this going to work? I mean, his speed is off the charts. He runs, I believe, like a 4.5, something crazy like that. JD, just from what you've seen, do you anticipate that he'll at some point be in a package or play this upcoming season? Not just in a blowout game when KJ's hung 40 or 50 on another team, but I'm talking about in a big time matchup that you guys are either down or up and it's a close pivotal ball. Do you expect Malik to be put in that situation? I
mean, Malik's a playmaker. I mean, he's got that track speed, and he is fast. And so, I mean, obviously, I don't know when they're going to use him, when Coach Browse is going to create a package, or if he is. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Browse threw him out there. I mean, I'd be confident in him. And so, I mean, if Coach Browse thinks it's the best for the team for Malik to go out there for a package, I mean, I'm all in for it. I mean, I'm completely confident that he'll go out there and do his job. And I mean, I can't sit here and tell you, oh yeah, he's going to go in there, he's going to go in here. But I mean, if he does go in, I expect good things out of him.
What questions do you have about this team? Because I have to ask them and our audience those on a daily, weekly basis as we're leading up. Say, hey, what about the offensive line, defensive line, receiver? We just start going through position groups, saying this and that. From a personal standpoint and just from a team standpoint, what questions do you have about this team and just yourself this year?
For myself, it's just I think the biggest thing that I think about is the playing time. Like, how much am I going to play? When am I going to go in? And I mean, I know that when Coach Guyton puts me in, that I'm going to produce. I mean, that's just who I am. I know, and I'm confident in myself that when I go in, I'm going to make plays, and I'm going to have to make them take me out, because I'm not going to come out. I don't want to come out at all. I'm going to make plays to force them to keep me in. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just how much am I going to play? Just kind of all that, just surrounding playing time. But for the team, I mean, there's not many questions. I mean, I'm 100% down with this team. They have worked their butts off. We have especially with having a real spring ball has really helped, because we got our chemistry down. We've had a whole entire offseason. The first year, because of COVID, it jacked everything up. We didn't have a spring ball. The fall camp was extended and all that kind of stuff so that we could have a little more time to gel. But we've had an entire offseason together, and so we've really gelled. We've really gotten really impact deep the playbook and just the chemistry with everybody. And so I think the only thing now is just to go out there and execute it. I mean, I'm super excited for this season, and I'm excited to see. Yeah.
I'm telling you. So you talk about playing time, JD. Coach Pittman referenced Guyton Jackson as the third wide receiver. We're just going to assume the All-American, eventual first-round draft pick, Traylon Burks, is number one. Devion's healthy again. It looks like he's going to be number two. From what you can gather from Coach Guyton, from Coach Briles, where are you in the mix right now with Jaquelin, with Kendall, and all the other guys that as you're talking about with playing time, competing for that?
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm right up there, and I mean, I'm competing every single day to get reps, and I mean, everybody's doing that, and I would say I'm right up there, because I mean, I feel like I bring a lot of value to the team, knowing the slot position and the outside position. And so if somebody on the outside gets hurt, I can go outside. If somebody gets hurt on the inside and I'm playing outside, Coach Guyton can put me at the slot and put somebody else on the outside. And so I think
cross training, like kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think being versatile really helps, and just knowing the entire offense. And so I'm excited to see what happens this year. Yeah. I'm
going to go through every single one of your position group teammates, and I want you to tell me the first word that pops into your head when I name each of these guys.
You're talking about
on your wide receiver.
Oh, okay. All right,
first thing that pops
gotcha.
in. We'll start with Guyton Jackson Jr. What's the first thing that pops in your head with Guyton?
Big. He's a big dude.
6'2", can go up and get it.
Yeah.
Kendall Catalon. First thing that pops in your head.
Smart and quick.
Trey Knox.
Big.
I think karaoke when I think Trey.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. He actually has a really good voice.
Yeah, he does.
My freshman year, we had that ladies night or whatever, when all the moms and all the women in the Arkansas Razorback fan base got to come to the facility and kind of get an in-depth look at Razorbacks. And we had a karaoke sing-off, and it was me, Trey, Jalen Catalon, Hudson Henry, and I think it was Drew Vest.
Okay.
I can't remember, but we had a competition to see who could do the best, and it's hilarious because he sang. What did he sing?
It was a country song. And
was it Low Places?
I think it was Low Places.
Yeah.
I think that was it. All right, Devion Warren.
Smart and fast.
Jaquelin Crawford.
Fast.
Okay. Bryce Stevens. There's been a lot of people who seem to really like Bryce Stevens.
He can fly. He can fly.
Burks.
Big, fat. I mean, versatile.
Tyson Morris.
Awesome. Great, fast, quick.
Darren Turner. Megatron.
Big. He's a big dude. He can go up and make those plays.
All right, that's a good chunk of them. So in this wide receiver room, that's something that I think has been pretty harped upon, that you guys have a lot of depth. What do you mentioned, JD, your ability to not just play the slot, play the outside, just kind of wherever you're called upon, you want to be. if you had to pinpoint something that separates yourself from some of the other guys that you're competing against on a daily basis, what would you say your strongest calling card is to get you that playing time that you want in 2021?
I would say consistency. I feel like anytime a ball is thrown my way, I'm going to catch it. And obviously, you're going to have drops. And obviously, you can't be 100%. And I've had my sure hand of drops. But push comes to shove, when the ball's thrown to me, I'm making that play. And I know I can make those plays. And even though I'm small, I can play like I'm 6'2", 6'3", and I can go up and get it. Huh?
How tall are you, officially?
I think with shoes on, I'm 5'11". So I'm like that 5'10", 5'11" mark-ish.
Okay.
But
what are you listed at, actually?
I think I'm listed at 5'11".
Okay. I didn't know if they try to put you at 6 feet or 6'1", like sometimes football teams.
Nah. I mean, I take what I'm given, and I harp on those. And I would say also my quickness and just my knowledge of the game just really helps me as well.
All right, coming up, Coach Ken Hatfield. You know him, Arkansas Razorback. He also coached at Rice, which some of you don't know about. Coach Hatfield's going to be joining us next. On the other side, this is Huddle Up.
Hey, this is Joe Klein with Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, where it is officially patio season. Come see us and enjoy our daily dining specials like our famous cheese dip happy hour, or if you're on the go, our convenient drive-thru has you covered. Corky's in Little Rock and North Little Rock. We'll see you soon.
Stays in the pocket, gets a good pass off to John David White, completes it inside the 20.
You're listening to Huddle Up with John David White and Tye Richardson, live from the Martin Orthopedic Studios, presented by Phelan Orthodontics.
All right, welcome back into Huddle Up. Really appreciate Phelan Orthodontics being a part of this podcast. I know that John David and myself really appreciate all the work that he's done for our teeth over the years. Our teeth are much better off with Dr. Tom and Dr. Jim, aren't they, JD?
They got our teeth looking great, and I do not miss those retainers.
Don't miss that.
Those are terrible.
Don't miss that at all. You can check them out, phelanbraces.com. Dr. Tom is located right next to Fellowship Bible Church in Little Rock.
Let's go to the Genesis Auto Wash hotline.
Bring in Coach Ken Hatfield. Coach, really appreciate the time, the connection to Arkansas, the connection to Rice. How excited are you to watch this game this upcoming Saturday?
Well, it's going to be a good game. I think everybody's anxious for the season to begin. And, yes, it brings back a lot of great memories of the days when Rice was in the Southwest Conference. Even when I was coaching at Rice, I always reminded of a great victory Rice had over the University of Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, where Dickie Magle, actually, Rice running back, was running down the field in front of the Alabama bench, and Alabama couldn't stand to see him, and the linebacker for Alabama came off the field and tackled him, and he was awarded a 95-yard touchdown run, and they went on to beat Alabama. But Rice was one of the founding members of the Southwest Conference, and so we have a great history of a lot of tough ball games with Rice. So this is just a cakewalk at all.
Yeah, I know John David and the rest of the team, they're not going to be overlooking the Owls this week. Coach, I want to talk to you about the punt returner position. Arkansas used to have a very dynamic guy in Joe Adams that anytime there was a punt, there was a chance that he could take it back to the house. Now, everyone knows what you did in 1964. It looks like Greg Brooks is going to be that guy this year. Coach, what makes a great punt returner, and especially today's college game?
Well, I think it's the team and how much time and effort you put into it, because the first thing you got to do is block and give the punt returner a chance to catch the ball. And the number one quality I think you look for in a punt returner is the ability to catch the ball, not run with it, but you got to catch it before you can run with it. So I think that's important to get that done. And it's a matter of team effort, of working, and the pride that all the other blockers take in a punt return to give the punt returner a chance to get started. And that's the real essence, I think, to give yourself a chance. there's no doubt that electrifying punt return that Joe Adams made against Tennessee may be the best I've ever seen.
Oh, Coach, I think yours against Texas is up there as well. And we've already referenced Texas a couple times, and I know Coach Sam Pittman has heard about the Texas game probably 1,000 times from fans leading up. As a former coach who's coached against all these tough teams, how do you get your team to stay focused and not look ahead like every other fan seems to be to week 2?
Well, I think you got to know the personality of your team, and I think everybody has waited so long to finally play a game. And I'm reminded of Coach Bear Bryant when he was at Alabama and opened up the season one year against Nebraska, and Nebraska beat him. And Coach Bryant always said the very toughest game of my season every year is the first game, because you have so many players. I don't care how many you got returning. You have so many more new players that are playing for the actual first time. You can make game conditions in practice not quite the same as the crowd, other team out there hitting back at you with their fans screaming. So the first game is always really a tester for the coaches and the team to how well they will perform, because a lot of them have never been in that situation before. So that's why the first game is so important, to come out, and all you can control is what you got control over. Come out, do what you've been coached to do it to the best of your abilities, one play at a time. Hey, and go have some fun playing a game of football.
Go ahead, John David, if you got something for him.
Coach, how are you doing? This is John David.
Yes, sir, John David. How you doing? You've had a good two-day. How's the team look?
Man, we're looking great. We're excited for this week 1. Probably the question I would ask is, what was the difference between coaching at Rice and Arkansas? What was the atmosphere like, and just kind of the different players and all that? What was the difference?
The biggest difference, I think, depending when I coached there, we certainly I was there, and we got out of the Southwest Conference and had to go into some other conference and not play the same people. Rice University has a long history. Jess Neely was there, and they did a great job in the Southwest and actually beat Texas more times than Arkansas did when Coach Neely was there. But the thing is, they were so good, they actually built him a stadium in Rice to keep him as the coach, and made it 72,000 people. It's a beautiful stadium. There's not a bad seat in the whole place. And that was during their heydays before pro football came. Certainly with the pro football coming, they hadn't had those kind of crowds. It's a very small school, about 2,700 students. Very hard to get walk-ons on there, so it's very hard to have a large squad when you're playing. That is a big difference. And also, they've lost a lot by playing in several conferences, in the WAC and Conference USA, that they just don't have quite the following to fill the stadium. They've done a great job with the facility. They have a new AstroTurf field. They got a new workout. They're doing all they can to make it a great place. They're also located in Texas, John David, and there's great football. There's so many great players. I found at Rice you always had access to some darn good football players. May have met to be guys that would come with great character and to develop themselves and be competitive, and so you tried to keep them the good third and fourth year to really have a chance. At Arkansas, I think we have now the tradition of going back, of being people who want to play represent the state of Arkansas, and knowing that when we play, we can play anybody in America and we have a chance to win. And so there's two different things. One is the crowd and the support that we have year-round here, versus they don't have quite the numbers down at Rice. But you look no further than last year when they won their first ball game on the road and shut out a Marshall team that was excellent and held them like 245 yards. They got good players, too. So it'll be a difference, but it's an exciting time for our team, exciting time for y'all to get ready, and we as fans, I guarantee, are anxious to see the Hogs play and come out and do our part and root y'all on.
Absolutely, and we can't wait to play in front of a full capacity stadium again. It's been a while since that happened, but I have one more question for you. When push comes to shove, who are you going to be rooting for this coming Saturday?
I'm going to be rooting for the winning team, no matter what. Right?
All right.
I tell you what, I've had great people from both schools. I enjoyed my time there, and I thought that, we had the same type players at both of them. They had great character that would play their hearts out for their teams, would play the game, and get the greatest venom hit and value out of the game by the way they play. They'll be a good. It's what football's all about. Two great teams, Rice University and the Fighting Hogs, coming together Saturday. It's going to be a barn burner. I look forward to it. Good luck to you and the Hogs.
What kind of expectations do you have for John David this fall?
Well, just to catch every pass that's thrown his way, and when he's not doing it, to be a good decoy, and third, when he's called upon, be a darn good blocker.
Yes, sir. You can expect that out of me.
You got your expectations
right.
from Coach. Coach, we really appreciate you taking time to join us again this afternoon on Huddle Up.
It's a pleasure, and good luck to you the rest of the year, too.
I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
All right. See you, John David.
See you, Coach.
See you, Coach. Coach Ken Hatfield at both Rice and Arkansas. I know you know him as a Razorback player, Razorback coach, but also coach, again, for the Owls. So really cool connection. Really appreciate Coach taking some time out of his Sunday to join us. He laid out your expectations, man. You got to meet him now.
Let's go, baby.
Catch everything.
It's
like
time.
you said, catch everything.
I know. Let's go. It's time.
Oh, man. I am so pumped for this season. Now, we got a little taste of football this spring.
Time for the Vail Chevrolet drive of the game.
Stays in the pocket, gets a good pass off to John David White, completes it inside the 20.
Just as accurate from the pocket.
Fakes the handoff. In the pocket. Now he's flushed out. Throws on the run. Man wide open.
Nice.
Connects once again with White. A 24-yard touchdown.
Vail Chevrolet, 13101 Chenal Parkway in Little Rock, Arkansas. The number one used and new Chevy dealer in Central Arkansas. Let's go back to the second quarter, John David, of that spring game. You, Malik Hornsby, connected a couple of different times. About 29 seconds to go, he found you right before the end zone, and you ended up prancing, walking in. And that's really thanks to a couple of things. One, y'all's connection. Two, his scramble and mobility. I mean, this guy's hard to get a hold of, even when it's just essentially two-hand touch in the spring game. How much more elevated this is offense when he and KJ have that running ability that can buy time for you guys to get open?
Man, it makes all the difference in the world because, I mean, if the pocket does collapse, and, I mean, it will, you've got to be able to get out and still look downfield and be able to find those guys. And so it was a great play by Malik. But I think the biggest thing that gets overlooked is the blocking, because even though it was a scramble, you could see the O linemen getting back in position and sacrificing themselves and keeping on pushing so that Malik could then find somebody downfield and feel confident enough to be looking downfield instead of looking at the D line. Because, I mean, if he would have seen a D lineman run him, I guarantee you he would have tucked it and ran it, because he didn't want to sacrifice fumbling it or throwing an interception just off a wild little throw. And so kudos to the line for always doing their thing and just continuing to butt heads with the D-line and just keep on making plays. But, I mean, it was a fun drive, and Coach Guyton was the OC, and they had it was a lot of fun. And so just to have that drive, it was big.
You and Malik ended up jumping up after the drive. That's one of my favorite celebrations in football. It's just the shoulder-to-shoulder jump. And you guys, I know he was ecstatic to find you for that touchdown. Just kind of take us through that drive, because if you remember, it was closing the second quarter. You guys were trying to put in touchdown. You mentioned Coach Guyton as y'all's offensive coordinator at the time. What was just kind of the game plan through that drive, and ultimately, how did you end up in the end zone?
So usually at the end of practices, we have this thing called 2-minute drill.
Okay.
And so we knew going into the drive, it was like, all right, I think it was a minute something. I can't remember, but I knew we had to get down there, and once you got the ball, if you couldn't get out of bounds, you had to get down. And we're taught by the staff that once you catch the ball, you don't hand it to the sideline refs, because then they have to throw it to another ref and then another ref, and then the umpire with the U has to place it down. Mm-hmm. And so right when we catch it, we're taught to give it straight to the middle guy. Let him set it.
Shaves off a couple seconds.
Exactly. And we also like the fast-paced offense, and so we've always been taught to put it in the inside and give it to the inside ref so he can spot it. And if we just catch it on the ground, we spot it ourselves. And that's what I did when I think it was on that dig when Malik found me over the middle and I got hit by Miles Slusher. And so right when I caught it, you can see me spotting it. And so it's great teaching by the coaches to just have awareness of the situation. And so it was big, and we knew that if we could get out of bounds, we could get out of bounds, stop the clock. But if we couldn't, give it to the middle guy or spot it ourselves and keep the drive going. And it was great calls by Coach Guyton and our team. And so it was fun, and just to see how things in practice correlate over to a game, it shows that whatever happens is supposed to happen, and we kind of we prepared for that big time.
JD, how quick does Coach Bryles want you guys to transition from play to play? Is it about 10 seconds? Like, what's the speed that he wants you guys to be lined up ready to go for the next play?
I'm not sure that there is a second count, but it is fast. Right when we catch the ball and the play is over, you've got to get starting looking at the sidelines, because he's already calling the next play. Right when that play ends or is about to end, if it's a run play and the running back is just about to go down, you can start looking over the sidelines because he's calling the next play. He wants us to go as fast as possible. If it's under 10 seconds, great. He wants to go as fast as possible to get the defense on their toes. I mean, when you get fast paced, you get tired and you start just kind of roaming around, and that's where we want to get them on their toes. And so I love the type of offense that Coach Bryles calls, and it's fun.
It's fun to watch as well. All right, that's going to do it for this segment of Huddle Up. Coming up, I want to talk with John David. The name, image, and likeness has gone into effect as of July 1st. How is he and other student athletes, and specifically his teammates, taking advantage of that, and how do they feel about it overall? That's coming up. Stay with us. It's Huddle Up.
We don't just work at the dealership all the time. We've had livestock, we've had cows, we've had horses for generations. It's a part of our family. Whether you're raising crops in East Arkansas or you're raising cattle in Northwest Arkansas, we can relate to a lot of people and what they do. Our state is known for buckling down and doing the hard work. That's who the Bale family is. We're hardworking, we're there every day, just like the people of Arkansas.
Shop Bale Chevy and BaleChevy.com today.
Martin Orthopedics provides complete and comprehensive orthopedic care for adults, students, and athletes. Our fellowship-trained and board-certified physicians are the leading names in orthopedic care. Locations in Little Rock, North Little Rock, Cabot, Benton, and Hot Springs Village. And the walk-in sports injury clinic opens Saturdays in North Little Rock. Our team is ready to help you with individualized care. Specialized orthopedic surgeons dedicated to improving your quality of life. Call Martin Orthopedics today.
I'd like to recognize John David White.
You're listening to Huddle Up with John David White and Tye Richardson, live from the Martin Orthopedic Studios, presented by Phelan Orthodontics.
Now, this podcast wouldn't have come about without name, image, and likeness that went into effect July the 1st. Now, JD, you've also been a part of the Walk-Ons promotion, but the John Deere, I thought, was a great just fit for you. You initially thought it was a fake.
I did. I did.
Tell us that story.
Well, I mean, I saw who at the time I didn't know, but is now the guy that has been talking to me and kind of making the connections with his company and me is Layden Pugh. And so I didn't think it was real. I thought somebody was just like, hey,
joshing with you.
Yeah, because NIL had just started I think 2 or 3 days before. Mm-hmm. And so I thought somebody was just like, hey, this is my business, quote unquote. But when me and my dad actually looked him up, we were just like, holy smokes, this is for real. And so we sat up in our seats and we were saying, all right, let's get his number. Let's get him on the phone. Let's talk to him. Let's see what he wants. And so ever since then, a partnership was born. And I mean, it's been awesome.
Diesel. It just fits.
Exactly.
So, and the connection we mentioned earlier in the podcast, you and I grew up going to games together. Kind of how this whole podcast was formulated is, I was like, we're talking this name, image, and likeness, and I was thinking to myself, how can ESPN Arkansas Hit That Line get involved? And I was like, let's do a podcast with the player. First person I thought it was you. We have, obviously, a friendship and relationship that dates back 15, 20 years, and I called your dad first, and he was like, I think JD would love to do it, and kind of like you are for the season, you were pumped up. What are you excited about with Huddle Up this fall and just having a podcast that you get to talk about your teammates, your coaches, and just games all season long?
It's fun. I mean, I didn't ever think something like this would happen, and so just to be able to have this opportunity and to kind of reach a bigger audience is just awesome, and I can't wait to see what the future holds with this, and it's going to be fun. I mean, we're going to have a bunch of fun, laughs, and we're going to have a bunch of great talks, and so I'm excited to see where this year takes us.
Now, I know you're going to be modest when we start talking about this, and we might be breaking some... Has Coach Pittman alerted you guys when he's going to divvy out walk-on scholarships? Has he told anyone about that or anything?
No, and I mean, even if he has, I wouldn't disclose that. I would let the timing run out, and whenever he thinks that I deserve a scholarship, because I believe I deserve a scholarship, but whenever he believes it's time and whenever the staff believes it's time is when they're going to tell me, and if it comes, awesome, and it will be the freaking greatest day of my life, because that's one of my biggest goals is to get a scholarship and to lose that title as walk-on, and not lose it, but gain what I've been wanting, which is a scholarship
Grant
player.
Morgan-esque. You want to be the next...
Exactly.
Grant.
I want to be able to use my past as a walk-on, but also be a scholarship player, you know? And so whenever Coach Pittman and the staff believe that I've deserved that scholarship is when it's going to happen, and it'll be the greatest day of my life, but you just got to keep working, you know?
I remember talking to you before you committed to Arkansas because you had other scholarship offers, Air Force. Go back through that list again real quick.
I had scholarship offers from OBU, Air Force, Tennessee Martin, and UCA.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of what you told me, not having to worry about my dad paying for school, getting the immediate student-athlete title without walk-on tagged on. But what the same phrase that you kept echoing after you committed and then eventually signed is, it was a weight off your shoulders. Now, we reference your grandpa, John Reese, who was on this football team, was on that 69 team, your uncle, John Aaron, who was on the 2016 with Darren McFadden, your dad, who's an All-American golfer here. So it's in your blood, just like it is for me. Fifth-generation Razorback. Now, I don't have the athletic background that your family does, but we do have the Razorbacks in our blood. So take us back to what was the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back to get you to commit and ultimately sign on the dotted line to go to the UFA without a scholarship and for the time, but I think hopefully that'll change in the next couple days or weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, all the schools that I visited were great. I loved it. It was a sweet experience to go out to Air Force and see just how they roll out there. I mean, it's not every day you get to go out to the Air Force base, you know? I mean, that's the Air Force. And so it was cool to be able to go out to all those places and visit them and be thankful that I have a scholarship from them. But when I went on the Arkansas visit, it just, I mean, it hit. You know, I was just like, I've been going to games up here. And plus, I mean, they were telling me that if I come here, that I'd be put on scholarship. And so that even gave me more reason. They gave me more reason to come up here and be like, okay, if they believe that I'm scholarship worthy and that they're going to put me on soon, then that even makes me want to come here more because I'll be on scholarship at the school of my dreams, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, obviously they aren't here anymore, the staff that hired me. And so that opportunity didn't happen, but obviously there's a bigger plan involved. And I know that whatever happens is supposed to be the Lord's plan, and it is the Lord's plan. And so you just got to keep trusting in that.
We're brought to you on Huddle Up by Arkansas Golf and Power Sports, Arkansas's largest easy-go and Cushman dealer. They're also offering a variety of other different vehicles. 2 locations, Fayetteville and North Little Rock, full-service sales, new and used, and rental. You can check them out online at arpowersports.com. That's arpowersports.com. You also, JD, have the connection of Hudson, your now roommate, your freshman year roommate, your teammate at Pulaski Academy. You also room with Ricky Stromberg and Brady Latham, right? Okay, mm-hmm. So you've got a couple other football players. By the way, I'm not going to disclose exactly where your house is, but the fact that you're a rock throw away from the football facility.
How cool is that?
It's pretty nice.
I know, it's super convenient.
And you got the scoot. Is the scooter the best investment? Because it was the best investment I made in college. Best investment 100%. In college, right?
That is the best investment ever because, and I mean, when you see people walking up those big hills, I'm just like, just driving past, I'm like, God, that sucks.
Honking your horn?
Exactly, yeah. Me and one of my best friends, Zach Zemos, me and him have gotten really close, and we have kind of the same class schedule, and so we'll go to breakfast, and then we'll both hop on my moped together, and then we'll ride up the hill, and we'll honk at people, and we'll wave at people, and then we'll ride back, but it's the best investment ever because I mean you get direct access right to your door basically.
John David, who would you say are some of your best friends on the football team?
Okay, so I've gotten really close with Zach Zemos, Hudson Clark, Reed Turner, and then obviously Hudson, Brady, Ricky, Trey Knox, Traylon Burks, Kendall Catalon, let's see, Blake Kern. We've gotten to be really close. Like we play golf, Nathan Bax.
What do you shoot, by the way?
Oh, gosh.
I shot 104 yesterday, so anything
I don't shoot 104. I think I shot in the 80s at Pleasant Valley.
How are you shaking your head about that?
I can't remember.
You're not your dad.
I know it was in the 8. I think it was like an 86. Me and Zach went out there with Papa White, and my dad watched, and it was I think I shot an 85 or 86, and then Zach shot one stroke ahead of me.
Okay.
So I beat him, and that always feels good. But yeah, so those are we have a big group of guys that go play golf up here. We go to Stonebridge, we go to the Links. We've gone to Fayetteville Country Club. We just go anywhere, and
whoever will have you.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever will have us, and we just go out and have a great time, and it's so much fun. And Harper Cole, we've gotten really close. I don't know if I've mentioned him yet, but it's just, I mean, and then really just everybody. I mean, I love, me and Joe Fouché have gotten really close. Jalen Catalon.
He's named by the way, congrats to Joe, named a captain yesterday.
I know. Yeah, props to them and all the guys that got named captains. They deserve it 100%. And we voted on that as a team, and those guys deserve it 100%.
Let's roll through them. Joe, Myron, Grant. Who are the other two?
Joe, Myron, Grant, Jalen.
Okay.
And
Traylon or KJ, one of them?
KJ.
Okay.
Yep. KJ.
Those 5.
Yep.
All right, so that's your captains this year for Arkansas. Real quick, JD, what do each of those guys bring to the table in their own individual way? We'll start with Joe since we just brought him up. What does Joe bring to this football team?
Joe brings that intensity every day. And ever since the offseason, me and him, after team runs and team workouts, we stay out there, and we've been working on releases. Me, him, Greg Brooks, I've gotten close to him. I really like being around him too. We kind of just sit out there, and we'll go one-on-one reps. We'll just kind of work on our releases and just be best on best. And then we'll sit there and we'll talk about, all right, what are you thinking in this down and distance? Like, what kind of releases are you expecting, and just all this kind of stuff. And so me and him have gotten really close, and he's a super hard worker, and he had a great fall camp, and I'm expecting big things from him, and he's awesome.
Now, you referenced Greg. Have you ever tried to ask Coach Fountain about punt returning? Because I know Greg looks like he's going to be the punt returner this fall. Is that something that you've ever tried to talk to Coach Fountain about, or Coach Bryles about, putting you in that role?
I mean, I would love to, and I would love to be a punt returner. But obviously, Coach Fountain is the expert in that, and he'll put whoever he thinks gives us the best opportunity to get the best field position possible. And so with Greg back there, I'm 100% confident in him, but it would be fun. I mean,
except when you get clobbered. You don't want to get just smacked.
Well, obviously, yeah, that's not fun. But
got to be good about fair catches, know when to call them,
and all that kind of stuff. And so he believes that the guys back there will make the best decisions for them, and so I trust them completely. But I mean, it'd be fun to be a punt returner.
Let's keep it going with these captains as we're closing up here on Huddle Up. Mr. KJ Jefferson, starting quarterback this fall. KJ had just a prolific game against Missouri this last year. I know a lot of Arkansas fans are excited.
Oh, yeah.
He has what seems to be a pretty just solid demeanor. What have you learned, and what is KJ Jefferson going to be for this football team?
KJ he has gotten a lot more vocal. He's gotten to be a great leader. He's been taking that role of QB1, and he's just run with it. He's a baller, and you're going to expect big things from him, and you're going to see big things from him because he's gained a lot of confidence in his throws and his decision making and his running and just everything. He's gained confidence in us as the receivers, and he knows that if he throws it up, we'll go get it. And he's confident in the running backs. He's confident in the line. And so you can tell when he's back behind the line that he's so much more confident.
Grant Morgan, that's kind of the guy that you'd like to embody, start as a walk-on and then into as an All-American. That'd be everyone's dream, wouldn't it?
That's the dream. And Grant has worked his butt off to where he is today. And I mean, he embodies what it is to be a walk-on, is to come here and work his butt off, and then team captain, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Myron Cunningham, one of the more soft-spoken guys, leads by, I would assume, example more than he does vocal. We had a chance to catch up with him at SEC Media Days. How big was it for the offense that he came back for another season?
It's huge. And, I mean, he could have easily gone to the NFL, and he decided to come back and keep this train going. And I mean, he's a detrimental part of our offensive line, and he is soft spoken, but when you get to know him, he's a really nice dude. I love Myron, and he's a great O lineman. He's going to be really good for us this year, and he's gonna be carrying that up front.
John David, last captain that we'll get to, and this is probably, to be honest, my favorite player on the team. It's Jalen Catalon. Comes across like a heat-seeking missile. Arkansas's had Ken Hamlin, Steve Atwater, Tony Booth, some really good safeties. Jalen's kind of the next in line for that spot. When you're coming across on a slant or a post and you see him in the back end, does that worry you a little bit based on the hits that he's delivered over the years?
You know, contact is part of the game, and my job is to catch the ball. His ball is to hit. And so at the time when I see the ball in the air, I'm not worried about anything. And so I could, and I'd still just go over the middle and just catch it. But Jalen has deserved everything he's gotten. He's got All-American honors, All-SEC, captain now. And so I'm super excited for Jalen and his future here and his future endeavors and whatever happens after college. But he's definitely 100% deserved that title of captain. And, man, he works hard. He's a hard worker, and I'm excited to see what he does this year. He's going to wreak some havoc on some offenses.
You know what I'm excited for?
What?
Game this week. Right.
Oh, man, dude.
6
I'm
days
so excited.
out.
I cannot believe it is here. It is so close, and you can feel it. The entire team feels it. You know it's here, and we're pumped.
I can't wait for it. That's going to do it for your first edition of Huddle Up. Make sure you subscribe to the Hit That Line Podcast Network, brought to you by Breeden RV. Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Really appreciate Dr. Tom Phelan being the presenting sponsor of this podcast, and Dr. Martin and Martin Orthopedics bringing us our studios as well. For John David White, I'm Tye Richardson. Again, find Huddle Up wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search Hit That Line.